Kira Layton stood, eyes closed, in the dimly lit control room of the Kronos 1, their specially designed time-traveling vessel. The weight of countless timelines pressed upon her deep blue eyes, as though every decision she had ever made was on the verge of collapsing into a singularity. Her clenched fists trembled ever so slightly, and she exhaled deeply, trying to focus her thoughts on the mission at hand. "Kira," Terran Valoris spoke softly, his piercing gray eyes observing her with a mix of concern and curiosity. "Are you certain you're ready for this?" "Ready or not, we don't have a choice," she replied, opening her eyes and locking gazes with him. "The entity's manipulation of time has gone unchecked for too long. We have to stop it, whatever the cost." "Very well," he nodded, stepping aside. "Your team is waiting for you." As Kira moved through the cramped corridors of the Kronos 1, she could feel the anticipation rising among her crew. Their first mission would take them back thousands of years, to an ancient civilization that had been all but erased from history by the ravages of time. They needed to find clues about the malevolent entity manipulating time before it led to the imminent apocalypse. "All right, everyone," Kira addressed her team, her auburn hair shimmering under the ship's artificial light. "This is our moment. Our chance to change the course of history and prevent the catastrophe that awaits us if we fail. There's no turning back now. Are you with me?" "Always, Kira." Zane O'Connor, the team's combat specialist, responded without hesitation. His strong and steady presence was a comfort to Kira, even though she knew the battles they would face would test his skills to the limit. "Of course," chimed in Amelia Amy Hartwell, the ship's brilliant engineer. The confidence in her voice belied the slight tremble of her hands as she tinkered with one of her many gadgets. Kira silently admired her courage and commitment. "Then let's do this," Kira declared, her voice heavy with determination. As the Kronos 1 initiated its time jump sequence, Kira's mind raced with a mixture of fear and excitement. What would they find in this ancient civilization? Would they be able to piece together enough information to stop the entity? And what secrets lay hidden within Terran Valoris, their enigmatic chrono guide? "Time jump commencing in 3, 2, 1, Amy announced, her voice barely audible over the hum of the engines. A sudden surge of energy pulsed through the ship and the crew, and Kira felt as though she were being pulled apart and reassembled molecule by molecule. It was over in an instant, leaving her breathless and disoriented, but alive. "Welcome to the past," Terran said with a wry smile, his eyes betraying a hint of sadness. "Now our real work begins." As Kira and her team disembarked from the Kronos 1, they found themselves in the heart of an ancient city, its stone walls worn smooth by the passage of centuries. The air was thick with the scents of spices and smoke, and the sound of a language long forgotten drifted on the breeze. It was a world at once alien and familiar, a place that held the key to their future, if only they could unlock its secrets. "Let's get started," Kira whispered to herself, taking a deep breath and steeling her resolve. "We've got a malevolent entity to hunt down." The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm amber light that illuminated the crumbling stone structures as Kira and her team navigated through the labyrinthine streets of the ancient city. The echoes of laughter and distant conversations intertwined with the haunting whispers of ghosts from a bygone era. "Stay close," Kira said, scanning the unfamiliar surroundings. "We don't know what we might encounter here." "Roger that," Zane replied, his steely gaze darting between the shadows, ever vigilant. "Isn't it strange," Kira mused, "to walk among people who have been dust for millennia? To breathe the same air they once did?" "Time's a fickle thing," Zane agreed, his voice betraying a hint of reverence. "But we can't afford to lose focus. We're here for a reason, after all." As they ventured deeper into the city, the team faced a series of trials that tested their resolve and resourcefulness. They scaled crumbling walls, deciphered cryptic inscriptions, and negotiated with wary locals who viewed them with equal parts curiosity and suspicion. "Every step we take feels like a delicate dance between past and present," Kira thought, keenly aware of the delicate balance they needed to maintain. One misstep could send everything tumbling down. Their progress was slow but steady, with each challenge revealing new layers of the civilization's rich history and complex culture. Yet the specter of the malevolent entity loomed over them, an unspoken reminder of the high stakes at play. "Kira!" Zane suddenly shouted, snapping her out of her introspection. "Hostiles approaching!" A group of armed warriors emerged from the shadows, their intentions clear as they advanced towards the team. Zane's instincts kicked in immediately, his combat skills honed by years on the battlefield. He moved with lethal precision, dispatching the assailants with ruthless efficiency. "Stay behind me!" he barked, as Kira and the others followed his lead, their hearts pounding in unison with each clash of steel on steel. As they fought their way through wave after wave of adversaries, Kira couldn't help but question the nature of their mission. Were they truly protectors of time, or merely pawns in a game beyond their comprehension? "Are we doing the right thing?" she wondered silently, her thoughts racing even as her body moved automatically, dodging blows and striking when the opportunity arose. "Are we preserving history, or simply carving our own path through the sands of time?" "Focus, Kira!" Zane shouted, snapping her back to reality as another group of warriors descended upon them. "We can't afford to hesitate now." "Right," she agreed, pushing her doubts aside for the moment. "Let's finish this." Together, they fought their way through the hostile forces, determined to protect themselves and uncover the truth about the entity manipulating time. With each battle, the team grew closer, their shared experiences forging bonds that would be tested to their limits in the days to come. "Time is a river," Kira mused as they pressed onward, the city's ancient streets stretching out before them like a winding path through the ages. "And we are but ripples upon its surface." The sun hung low in the sky, casting elongated shadows across the ancient ruins. Kira gazed up at the crumbling edifice before her, its walls adorned with cryptic symbols that seemed to dance and shift beneath her gaze. "Is it just me?" she murmured. "Or are these markings moving?" "Moving," echoed Amy, squinting at the etchings. "I don't see it." "Temporal anomalies," said Terran, his voice strained as he surveyed their surroundings. "They're causing distortions in our perception. We'll need to tread carefully from here on out." "Leave it to me." Amy stepped forward, her green eyes alight with determination. "I can get us through this. Just follow my lead." Kira watched as her young companion adjusted a series of dials on her wrist-mounted device. It hummed to life, emitting a faint blue glow. "Amy," she asked, unable to keep the concern from her voice, "are you sure you can handle this?" "Trust me, Kira," Amy replied, flashing a confident smile. "I've got this under control." As they followed Amy through the labyrinthine ruins, Kira couldn't help but be impressed by the engineer's ingenuity. Her device seemed to anticipate the temporal fluctuations, allowing them to navigate the shifting terrain with relative ease. "Up ahead," Kira announced suddenly, her intuition guiding her like an unseen hand. "There's something important there. I can feel it." "Your instincts haven't steered us wrong yet," Zane agreed, his combat stance relaxed but ready for any threat that might emerge. "Let's check it out," Terran decided, his tone guarded as he kept watch over their surroundings. Approaching the designated area, Kira's blue eyes widened as she deciphered the enigmatic symbols etched into the weathered stone. This is a prophecy," she whispered, her heart pounding with the weight of her discovery. "Really?" Amy asked excitedly, peering over Kira's shoulder. "What does it say?" "Something about the convergence of timelines," Kira murmured, her mind racing as she connected the dots. "And a great cataclysm that will result from these collisions." "Does it say how to stop it?" Zane inquired, worry etched across his face. "Patience," Kira chided gently, her gaze never leaving the stone. "I'm still piecing it together." As Kira continued to unravel the ancient prophecy, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. What if they were too late to prevent the impending catastrophe? What if their actions had already set events in motion that could not be undone? "Focus, Kira," she reminded herself silently, taking a deep breath as she steeled her resolve. "The past is written, but the future is ours to shape." "Got it!" Amy exclaimed triumphantly, her device emitting a triumphant beep as she successfully stabilized the temporal distortions around them. "We should be safe from any further anomalies for now." "Good work, Amy," praised Kira, offering her a grateful smile. "Now let's see what else we can learn from these ruins before we press on." The burning sun hung heavy in the sky above the ancient city, casting elongated shadows that seemed to stretch the fabric of time itself. Kira found herself entranced by a shard of golden light, shimmering on the edge of one of the unearthed artifacts, before she quickly shook off the distraction. "Kira, what's our next move?" Zane asked, his voice tinged with concern as he glanced at Taryn, who had been unusually silent for the past few hours. "Let's regroup and discuss our findings," Kira said decisively, her eyes narrowing as she observed Taryn's distant expression. She couldn't help but wonder what he was hiding, her intuition gnawing at her like a hungry beast. "Finally!" Amy sighed with relief, wiping the sweat from her brow. "I could use a break." As they gathered together, Taryn remained at the periphery, his gaze locked on the horizon. His detachment sent a chill down Kira's spine, and she could feel the tension growing among her team. "All right, let's go over what we've learned so far," she began, attempting to keep her tone steady and neutral. "We know that this ancient civilization had knowledge of the temporal convergence and the cataclysm it would cause." "Right," Zane agreed, his eyes darting between Kira and Taryn. "But we still don't know how they plan to stop it, if at all." "Maybe there's something we're missing," Amy suggested, her enthusiasm tempered by the unease that had settled over the group. "Or maybe someone hasn't been entirely honest with us," Kira added, her voice sharpening as she fixed her gaze on Taryn. His eyes flickered with surprise, then hardened as he met her stare. "What are you implying, Kira?" "Your knowledge of this place, these symbols, it's uncanny," she accused, her heart pounding as her suspicions clawed their way to the surface. "It's almost as if you've been here before." "Is that really so hard to believe?" Taryn retorted, a hint of frustration creeping into his voice. "I am a chrono guide, after all. This is my area of expertise." "Enough!" Zane barked, stepping between Kira and Taryn. "We're getting nowhere with this. We need to work together, not tear each other apart." "Zane's right," Amy chimed in, her green eyes pleading for harmony. "We have a mission, and we can't let distrust get in the way." For a moment, the only sound was the harsh whisper of wind through the desolate city. Kira exhaled slowly, her anger subsiding but not entirely extinguished. "Fine," she conceded, her gaze never leaving Taryn's steely gray eyes. "But I'll be keeping a close eye on you." "Go ahead," Taryn replied coolly, a smirk tugging at the corners of his lips. "You won't find anything amiss." As they resumed their investigation, Kira could not shake the feeling that Taryn held the key to unlocking the mystery of the convergence. But was he truly an ally, or had he become a pawn of the malevolent entity they sought to stop? "Whatever your secrets are, Taryn Valoris," Kira vowed silently, her determination rekindled by the seeds of betrayal, "we will uncover them, and we will put an end to this apocalypse once and for all." A sense of unease clung to the air like a dense fog as Kira stood at the edge of the precipice, gazing into the swirling vortex below. The churning maelstrom of time seemed to beckon her with its twisting tendrils, as if daring her to plunge headlong into the unknown. She knew that each step she took could send ripples through reality, altering the fabric of history in ways she couldn't even begin to comprehend. "Your thoughts are as turbulent as the storm before us," said a deep voice from behind her, jolting Kira from her reverie. Turning, she found herself face to face with Elias Carter, the charismatic historian they had enlisted to help them unravel the mysteries of the malevolent entity. "Time is a treacherous sea, Miss Layton," he continued, his hazel eyes reflecting the vortex's chaotic dance. "Navigating it requires not only skill but also wisdom, for every action has consequences we may not foresee." "Then we must tread carefully," Kira replied, her voice tinged with determination. "We cannot allow this entity to continue manipulating the course of history." "Indeed," Elias agreed, stroking his neatly trimmed beard thoughtfully. "But first, we must understand our adversary. Knowledge is power, after all." "Knowledge and power can be dangerous," Zane interjected, folding his arms across his broad chest. "And trust is in short supply these days." "True," Elias conceded. "But without trust, we stand no chance of stopping this apocalypse. We must work together, despite our doubts." "Agreed," Amy chimed in, her green eyes alight with purpose. "Let's do what we came here for. Find a way to put an end to this madness." As they ventured deeper into the maelstrom, navigating their way through the labyrinthine twists and turns of time, Kira couldn't help but feel awed by the enormity of their task. The weight of history bore down on her like an oppressive force, each moment a potential tipping point that could change everything. "Every choice we make echoes through the ages," Elias mused, his voice barely audible above the howling winds of time. We must be mindful of our actions, lest we become the very monsters we seek to defeat. Then let's focus on what we know, Kira suggested, her analytical mind seeking purchase in this ocean of uncertainty. What do we understand about the entity? Very little, Elias admitted. But it seems to feed on the energy of temporal anomalies, moments where the flow of time is disrupted or altered. Perhaps if we can find a way to starve it of this power source, we may stand a chance at defeating it. Finding such a way will not be easy, Zane warned, his combat instincts primed for danger. We're venturing into uncharted territory, and we cannot predict what obstacles lie ahead. Then we'll face them together, Amy declared, her engineering expertise ready to tackle any challenge. We've come this far, and we won't back down now. As they journeyed through different time periods, battling increasingly dangerous obstacles and challenges, Kira began to realize the unintended consequences of their actions. Each ripple effect that stemmed from their presence threatened to unravel the present they sought to preserve. Is it worth it? She pondered aloud as they caught their breath after a particularly harrowing encounter. The sacrifices we've made, the risks we've taken, are we truly saving the future, or are we merely trading one apocalypse for another? Only time will tell, Elias replied cryptically, his eyes distant as if lost in thought. But whatever path we choose, we must walk it with conviction, for the only certainty in this world is that nothing is certain. Then let's make our choices count, Kira resolved, her determination undimmed by the doubts that gnawed at her. For the sake of all those who have gone before us, and all those who will come after. Kira stared into the swirling vortex of time, its depths shimmering with the colors of countless timelines. The weight of her sister's memory clung to her like a shroud, suffocating her with every breath. It was in this moment that she understood the true stakes of their mission. Kira, Elias said softly, placing a hand on her shoulder. I believe I've uncovered something about your sister's death. Kira's heart clenched as she faced him, fear and anticipation warring within her. What did you find? Your sister's demise. It was not an accident. I've traced the source of the temporal disturbance that led to her untimely end. It was the entity. The revelation hit Kira like a tidal wave, submerging her in a torrent of grief and rage. So, it murdered her, just like it's trying to destroy everything else. Seems so, Elias confirmed, his eyes filled with sympathy. But that means we have a chance to make things right, to bring justice for your sister, and prevent the apocalypse. Can we really do that? Zane asked, skepticism etched on his face. With each step we take, we risk altering the timeline even further. Every action has consequences, Amy added, her voice tinged with doubt. Are we capable of stopping the entity without causing more harm than good? Kira's mind raced, grappling with the enormity of their task. She took a deep breath, her resolve hardening like steel. We have no choice but to try. We owe it to my sister, and to everyone else whose lives the entity has destroyed. Kira's right, Elias agreed. We must forge ahead, even if the path is uncertain. With our combined skills and determination, we can overcome any obstacle. All right then, Zane said, clenching his fists. If we're going to face the entity, we need a plan, and soon. The closer the apocalypse draws, the harder it will be to stop it. Let's gather our resources, Amy suggested, her eyes alight with purpose. We'll need every advantage we can get if we're to confront this malevolent force. As the team prepared for their most crucial mission yet, Kira could feel the weight of time bearing down on them. But beneath the crushing pressure, a spark of hope ignited within her, the hope that they could change the course of history and bring justice to her sister's memory. Whatever it takes, she whispered to herself, eyes fixed on the churning maelstrom before them. We will make things right, or die trying. In the dim, flickering light of their makeshift encampment, Kira sat cross-legged, her head bowed in contemplation. The shadows danced across her face, mirroring the turmoil within her soul. She could feel the weight of responsibility crushing her, a relentless pressure that threatened to consume her entirely. What if she wasn't strong enough to save them all? What if her efforts only hastened the apocalypse? Kira. Zane's voice cut through the oppressive silence, his tone gentle yet firm. You can't keep torturing yourself like this. She looked up into his determined eyes, and for a moment, her heart swelled with gratitude for his unwavering support. Zane's right, Amy chimed in, her fingers nervously twisting a stray lock of hair. We've faced so many challenges together, and we've always come out stronger. We believe in you, Kira. We know you can lead us to victory. Your doubt is understandable, Elias added, his voice laced with empathy. But remember, Kira, that the burden does not fall on you alone. We are here, united by our shared goal, ready to stand beside you until the end. As her ally's words washed over her, Kira felt something inside her shift. A spark ignited, fanned by their belief in her, fueled by their unwavering resolve. Yes, the odds were stacked against them, but they were not alone. They had each other. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. With renewed determination, Kira led her team deeper into the ancient ruins, guided by her intuition and Elias's historical expertise. They navigated through labyrinthine corridors, the air thick with the dust of ages, every step taking them closer to the heart of the entity's power. It was there, amidst the remnants of a long-forgotten civilization, that Kira made a startling discovery. Look at this, she said, tracing her fingers over an intricate carving on the wall. This symbol, it represents temporal energy. And here, she pointed to another symbol, glowing faintly in the dim light. This could mean control or harness. I think we've found something important. Are you suggesting, Elias mused, his eyes alight with excitement, that the key to stopping the entity might lie in controlling the very power it feeds upon? Kira nodded, her thoughts racing as the implications of their discovery began to take shape. If we can harness the temporal energy, bend it to our will, we might be able to weaken the entity, or even destroy it completely. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Zane cautioned, ever the pragmatist. We still need to figure out how to control this energy without causing more damage. True, Amy agreed. But this is the first real glimmer of hope we've had since we began this mission. We can't afford to ignore it. As they stood there, gazing upon the ancient symbols that promised a chance at salvation, Kira felt the spark within her flare into a raging fire. They were not merely pawns in the entity's twisted game. They were fighters, determined to reclaim their world and their future. And now, armed with the knowledge they needed to face their enemy, they would show the malevolent force that dared to manipulate time itself, the true power of human resilience. Kira stood at the edge of a swirling vortex, its edges shimmering with the colors of countless timelines. Behind her, Zane, Amy, and Elias huddled together, their faces reflecting a mix of awe and determination as they prepared to enact their daring plan. Are you sure about this, Kira? Zane asked, his voice barely audible above the thrumming energy that filled the air around them. Kira glanced back at him, her blue eyes burning with resolve. No, she admitted. But it's our best shot at stopping the entity and saving the future. Harnessing temporal energy, Amy murmured, her engineer's mind racing with possibilities. If we can control it, channel it into a weapon, then maybe, just maybe, we have a chance. Imagine, Elias added, his historian's heart alight with the potential for discovery. A confrontation at the dawn of time itself. Who knows what secrets we may uncover in the process. As Kira turned back to the vortex, she felt the weight of their expectations resting on her shoulders. She had led them to this point, guided by her intuition and haunted by her sister's death. Could she truly guide them through this final desperate gambit? Kira, Zane said, placing a hand on her shoulder. Whatever happens, we're with you to the end. We believe in you. His words broke through her doubts like rays of sunlight piercing the darkness. With a nod, Kira reached out to touch the surface of the vortex, feeling the raw power of temporal energy coursing through her veins. It was wild and untamed, yet she sensed an underlying structure, a pattern waiting to be deciphered. Listen, she said, her voice calm and steady despite the chaos surrounding them. I think I can see the way to control this energy, but I can't do it alone. We need to work together, each of us focusing on a different aspect of the temporal flow. Tell me what you need, Amy replied, her eyes blazing with determination. Zane, focus on the physical aspects, the movements of particles and waves in time, Kira instructed. Amy, concentrate on the engineering side, the mechanics of bending temporal energy to our will. And Elias, I need you to delve into the history of the entity, the events that led to its creation and rise to power. As they joined hands, forming a circle around the vortex, Kira felt the connection between them grow stronger, their individual strengths merging into a powerful force. They were no longer a collection of individuals, but a united team, ready to face the ultimate challenge. "Ready?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ready!" they replied as one. With a deep breath, Kira took the plunge, leading her team into the depths of the vortex. As they journeyed back through millennia, they began to unravel the threads of time, searching for the entity's origins and the key to its defeat. Time stretched and warped around them, offering glimpses of long-lost civilizations and forgotten histories. Through it all, Kira held fast to her conviction that they could, and would, change the course of destiny. "Here," she breathed as they reached the dawn of time itself, "this is where we make our stand." And so, with the fate of countless timelines hanging in the balance, Kira and her team prepared to confront the malevolent entity, armed with newfound determination and the very power it sought to control. The climactic showdown had begun, and the echoes of their battle would ripple across eternity.